Something very interesting from the president of the African Development Bank, that's Mr. Adesina. He has something interesting to say that I think we should also talk about in the spirit of prosperity and progress for Nigeria. So it promises to be a bumper package. My name is Saheed Fuhad. This is Political Roundtable, Mainland 98.3 FM. I have Barrister Curtis Adigba in the studio. We also have Joseph Olorosho in the studio with us this evening. Yes, Nurin Adigbero decided to take some rest. It deserved rest, I must say, because again, it was an interesting ride with him yesterday on a Yoruba belt, where they had the police public relations officer in Lagos State coming to talk about security issues, policing in Lagos, and I think it was an interesting one yesterday. We have 4 issues, but before I, of course, unveil the 4 topics for today, let me welcome Barrister Curtis Adigba to the show. Good evening, Barrister Curtis.
Good evening, and thanks for having me.
All right, Joseph Olorosho, how are you doing?
Good evening, I'm fine.
Okay, the voice is a bit low. Hope all is well.
No,
today is festive season for
Nigeria will just hear all is well.
He just finished eating Easter rice.
Okay, the voice will come up eventually.
No, I plan to go and eat rice on Friday, but they say the president said the birthday is low key.
Oh, you wanted to
go to that place to go and chop.
Well, I think that was a good one from the president. Maybe an attempt to read the room. That look, I think the president. I was reading Barrister Curtis Adigba's post on Facebook, where he said that look, apart from the president and maybe 1 or 2 of his aides, every supporter of the president seems to see something differently about the performance and the situation of things in the country. Because for the president to have admitted that look, things are not too okay in the country and all of that, and look, I want to have a low-key birthday celebration. But there are people that will never listen. One of them is the Tantita man. Sandra will say Uncle Brother Tompolo. The president said don't do anything, but the man still took the papers.
The rules don't apply to some people.
But the president said everyone has money.
Want to share it for some of us.
Well,
the man no share.
Again, is a friend of the president.
But he said his friends and loved ones should please use the money to help the less privileged.
He
didn't get the memo. The memo came in early.
Let me tell you,
here.
Where Tompolo is, they are no less privileged.
Oh, okay. In his own environment. Okay. So, that could be the reason why he looked around. There's nobody to help. I still have to spend. And I think when you have a lot of money, when you have too much money, when money is too much available to you, the problem you have is that you don't have a problem. So you have a problem spending the money.
Again, you also have to understand
that
when the president said, "This is what I prefer," it's an advice, an advisory.
So it's not
it's an advisory proclamation.
Okay. It's not binding.
There's no punishment for not
obeying it.
For not obeying it.
Okay.
And of course, he loved the president so much, and there are no less privilege in the part of the country where he comes from.
That I could have used the money to help.
No even less privilege in Nigeria, as far as he's concerned.
Well, but like you said, I like the president more. It's honest when it comes to admitting the reality of
Nigeria at this time. Yeah.
In his broadcast to the country, he admitted that the times are tough. He said, "I understand what you go through, and I'm working very hard." But to some of his supporters, everything is rolling.
All is well.
Yes.
Yes.
If you talk, it's because Oshibajo lost.
I don't know. I don't know that kind of delusion.
You understand?
Thinking that comes from you know.
Even when the man who is in charge of the
says that he knows that things are tough.
There are those who say, don't worry. Like yesterday now, they went on air again and said Polaris is selling dollars at 900.
I don't know where they get their information from.
Ogafor, I just pray that you should enjoy Nigeria blind support. Nigeria just love. But
that's not supposed to be.
They don't look, and the thing is that these guys don't even know their recent history. I was just reminding someone today that do you remember that sometimes, I think about two years ago, the current president advised President Buhari to print more money.
Just to show up
more money and show up your economy. Today, the same people are saying,
you can't be doing that.
The problem was that they printed too much money. There was no value for the money.
And that was false economy. That was this. They have different. Again, I think
even my governor got a lot of criticism.
Bashi when he said that we were just printing money.
That we are going to we will enter trouble time in the future. That as a governor, I'm surprised that we are printing money to share.
There's one huge problem in Africa, and that is the problem of we are too quick out of the blocks to praise our leaders. And sometimes we are too generous with the praise that they begin to think that everything is well with us. And those who feel that the leaders should hear another set of voices that says, "Oh, things are not okay," and encourage them to do more. They are branded as enemies of the government.
Well, I don't take.
And you know, every government all over the world. This has nothing to do with Nigeria alone now. Even though some individuals are elected, those who actually govern are unelected. Those are the people around the president.
They have access. They can.
The prime minister. They are the power brokers. They can go by the name of elders. They are the ones.
Or pressure groups or
the president anytime. If it's time for appointment, Mr. President, this is the man who think can protect your interests. Begam, he enters there. You understand? When it comes to ambassadors, they are the same people. They basically govern the president to govern you
by proxy.
And they are unelected.
I will never forget the analogy of the governor who had a tree within the government house, the one you gave, as to whether to cut the tree or leave it. And the fact that these people around, these people just continue to say what they want, their principal to hear. They are never critical. They are never objective about what they want to say. It's just all support.
It is difficult in Africa to find people around the leaders who can be critical
and speak truth to power,
and even disagree with their leaders because of the love for power.
They want just to remain. They want to remain there in the corridors of power.
I was listening to Mark Esper. Mark Esper, of course, became Secretary of Defense. You know, Trump's first Secretary of Defense was James Mattis. James left after they had that big blowout, and Mark Esper, he appointed Mark Esper. And at the point, Mark Esper could also cope and had to go. In fact, he said he fired Mark Esper. Mark Esper said
he resigned.
He resigned. And he was talking last night about how it was like a constant battle between him and the president because of his dark impulses about the things he wants to accomplish.
And some of his foreign policy objectives that was just at variance completely.
James Mattis also said he had to leave so that the president can find someone who can work with him. You hardly find this kind of thing happening in Africa, not only Nigeria. How many of the service chiefs can disagree with the president on the course of action?
It has to be, they will even say that what they are doing is in tandem with the hopes and aspirations of the president. Even though they may not even believe in what the president is doing.
You will see either a CBN governor and say, "I'm going to the president for advice."
Yes.
You're supposed to be a technical
to advise the president and formulate policies that
we will not go. This is the best direction, but
it's just that I can explain to you. You know that under the CBN Act, the position, and even in our constitution, the position of the CBN governor is structured and tenured. In other words, it's guaranteed. The president can only remove the CBN governor. For him to, he has to get it to third
majority
of
can be suspended
in the Senate. But you see, in Nigeria, they find convenient way.
Before suspend you.
You don't go with that.
You suspend
and you don't come back.
You suspend and harass.
And then you don't come back.
The man throws in the towel himself.
Because he's tired.
You don't started it.
I think suspension, they will now send the FCC after you. And then when you begin to have all that battle, you just get tired and leave. Well, it's a story of Nigeria.
I'm going for Nigeria. Suspension is...
Well, I had a very interesting conversation with some EFCSC operatives in the course of the week, and the discussion was I had to go there to see somebody in respect of a matter. And I asked the guy, I said, how come you have almost 98% success against small criminals,
Yahoo boys and co, but with the politicians it's less than 1% success?
And he looked at me and said, who appointed us? I said, I know who appointed. It's okay. That's your answer.
Well, I think that answer has a whole lot, Yes. But let's go straight to what we have today, because we have 4 issues on the round table. We'll go very fast, so that of course we can open the phone lines early to have contributions from our listeners this evening. Like I said, we're going to move very, very fast. The first issue to consider, Edo 2024, September is upon us. We're very close to the elections in Edo State, and as it is, INEC has now released the names of all of the governorship candidates of the different political parties. Of course, as expected, the PDP has Ighodalo, the APC has Senator Monday Okpebholo, and then, of course, the Labour Party has Olumide Akpata, the former NBA, man, and then others to other political parties. I mean, I saw the Boot Party also as a candidate. I'm surprised that the Boot Party was able to present somebody in Edo State.
Selection not about polling booth.
If it's about just polling. So we'll look at that. But the interesting thing here is that Philip Shuaibu, the embattled deputy governor of Edo State, his name is missing. Of course, there can't be two names on the register. Somebody has to make the list. And so we just want to look at Mr. Philip Shuaibu, Comrade Philip Shuaibu, as he likes to be called. What's he need for his political career? Is it the end for him? He still has an impeachment proceeding hanging around him. He's still in court trying to stop the impeachment proceedings. And I see that the State Assembly, has eventually gotten a report from the chief judge of the state, and they are proceeding to act on that particular report, which means that, look, he's close to being impeached as deputy governor of Edo State. Yes,
and he's going to bounce back.
All right, so I want us we'll get straight into it. Really, what the future holds for him. We want to look at that permutation in Edo State and what the role of Comrade Philip Shuaibu would be. He's not just an ordinary politician in Edo State. I think whether we like it or not, he's one of the most influential politicians we have in that state today. So we look at that. And then the second one, if we can't change them, very interesting word coming from Mr. Peter Obi, that look, if we can't change them, we'll leave them. And Mr. Peter Obi is basically talking about the Labour Party.
It's already gone. Well, not that they will leave them.
He said he has not left them. He said, if we can't change them, I'm going to.
Who are the them now?
He's talking about the Labour Party.
Yeah, who are the them? Is it not part of them?
Okay, well, we'll look into that, because what he has said is that, look,
the 6 million vote.
If we can't change them, we'll leave them. Peter Obi speaks on Labour Party crisis, and we're going to ask ourselves this evening: is the Labour Party on the path to extinction? Because there are people who believe that, look, the exit of Mr. Peter Obi is the exit of the obedience movement, and if that movement leaves the Labour Party, that is the end of that party, at least as one of the major opposition political parties in Nigeria. So we'll look at the crisis of the Labour Party. It's been one of the most controversial, one of the most messy political crises in recent times. So we'll look at that too as the second issue on Political Roundtable today. And then Kaduna State, very interesting. Just last week, we were talking about Malam Nasiru El-Rufai returning to the country after his sojourn for academics in the UK. But he's back into the country, and we saw that he's been making some moves, from visiting the SDP secretariat to also visiting the suspended Senator Abdul Ningi. Well, an update on that: Senator Akpata granted an interview recently, and he said that, look, the suspension of Senator Abdul Ningi will be lifted very, very soon. You know, he said it's a family matter, we'll resolve it. So that's just the update. That's what he said. That, look, don't worry.
It's not the family matter.
He said it's a family matter, that they know what they are doing, and that, look, burden ourselves. These guys know what they are doing.
One family.
He said it's a family
Nephews
matter.
And cousins and
but Senator Akpata from Akwa Ibom, Ningi from Bauchi State.
Family.
So there is a family of there's a family built by interest.
Okay.
They call it interest compatibility.
All right.
So they are brothers and sisters.
Okay. So I just wanted to give that update, that, look, for people who have been, troubling themselves about the fate of suspended Senator Abdul Ningi, Akpabio said that
the one here even making differences for them. I said this is APC.
This is PDP.
Yeah, the same thing.
The same of the same everywhere. Okay. So, but while all of that is going on, or was going on, we got this very interesting back and forth between one of the sons of the former governor of Kaduna State, and we're talking about Bashir El-Rufai. Bashir El-Rufai attacking the governor Sani, who had said that, look, the huge debt he inherited from his immediate past successor is the reason why there seems to be a lot of problem with financing projects, paying salaries and doing a lot of progressive work for the people of Kaduna State. He has hardly said what he said before one of the sons of the former governor had gone to X, now formerly Twitter, to give a damning reply. And the reply, it's easier to say, oh, okay, it's just a very subtle reply, but these were direct statements, direct attack.
What did they say?
We're going to read it. Because what he said is loaded with a lot of meaning. So
the governor not accusing his father now. The governor not accusing.
No. Well, if you say former government, it's assumed that
former government.
Yes,
not El-Rufai.
Joseph.
The former government was led by El-Rufai.
In the land,
Yeah, yes.
They say that you don't have to tell an old man, look at your head is big before you insult him.
Yes, sir.
If you say the way you move the head,
so why is your head shaking like this?
I know that the guy called it. There was a time he thanked the same. How do you call it? The El-Rufai was very instrumental for the governor to.
No, that's why we're saying that. Look, it's a crisis, a new political crisis brewing in Kaduna State. Because again,
it will be a family matter later.
Well, if there are states already with their own crisis, we can talk of Edo State, we can talk of Rivers State that have an open crisis that we know about. Even Benue,
where he said they don't want me to they said they don't want me to develop
the state.
Benue is the least developed of the 19
Northern State. So
only yesterday, Ali has said that.
Yeah. So if those are states we already know about their crisis between the governor and his supposed godfather, but in Kaduna State, this is coming. So do we have a new political crisis brewing in Kaduna State? Are there unseen forces or seen or unseen forces coming to play on this particular one? We'll look at that on the roundtable this evening. And then lastly, Mr. Adesina is proposing that we change the name of Nigeria.
The United States.
United States of Nigeria. Okay. You have USA, so we now have USN. United States of Nigeria.
Yeah, I think he believes that by merely adding United,
yes,
Nigeria can become united.
But I'll try and quote him verbatim. I have the statements credited to him as to why he thinks
United football team are not even united.
So we'll look at his thinking. This is a very brilliant man.
Ogafor knows we have all this name every day. We have a correctional center.
That's corrected.
That was a prison. That one.
We moved from Nigerian Prison Service to Nigerian Correctional Center, and nothing has changed.
If you read it, announce it.
But we'll look at the thinking of the president of the AFDB, that's the African Development Bank, why he thinks we need a new name. I think there are countries in the world that have changed their names. Nigeria will not be the first that has done that. There are countries that used to have a name before that has changed it for several reasons. Some of them political, some of them economic, some of them just to, take away the toga of colonialism. They decided to change their name. So we'll look at that. So 4 issues on the Political Roundtable this evening. The show is being streamed live on Facebook and YouTube. So you can actually watch the show live on our Facebook platform and YouTube platform. You can also drop your comments and contributions on the 2 platforms. Of course, be sure that I'm going to read all the comments on Facebook. I'll try to take all of them. Of course, later on in the show, we're going to open the phone lines to also take your calls and contributions. So let's just go straight to the first issue. Edo State, Edo 2024. Shuaibu's name missing as Ighodalo, Akpata, Okpebholo. Others make INEC's final list. The name of Edo State Deputy Governor Philip Shuaibu was missing as the Independent National Electoral Commission. INEC yesterday displayed the list of candidates of the 17 political parties that would participate in the September 21 governorship election in the state. The list was displayed at the state office of the commission in Benin City notice board and in all INEC offices across the 18 local government areas as required by the law. Ighodalo Aswe of the PDP, we have Okpebholo Monday, that's Senator Monday Okpebholo of the APC, and Olumide Akpata of the Labour Party, all making the list. We also have the Boots Party presenting Osirame Ediepo. Then we have a Accord Party producing Enebulele Bright. The African Democratic Congress, the ADC, have Obazele Paul Agbone. The People's Redemption Party, PRP, has Ki Ndidi. And then the Young Progressive Party, YPP, have Okungbowa Paul Ovakon. The list also showed that Mr. Owaifo Osaro is the governorship candidate of the Action Alliance, while the SDP has Ane Abdullahi Aliu. The NNPP as Azene Friday, and then of course the ABGA, that's the All Progressive Grand Alliance, as Osifo Isaiah as his candidate. Others are, you have the APM, who has Ugaigbe Odaro Sylvester, the APP as Orelogbe Amos Osulame, then Action Democratic Party as Ahiwe Kinsin Afere, while the African Action Congress have Udo David, and then of course the Zenith Labour Party as Akalame Omegbone. Now again, there are people that will say they are contenders and pretenders in this list, whether you have it or not. So maybe we should just focus on the PDP, the APC, and then the Labour Party. But of course, our focus here is Comrade Philip Shuaibu of the PDP. We all know the battle he faces at this time. The governor and his associates in the State Assembly just want him out as deputy governor. He's not been able to pick the party's ticket, even though he claims to also hold the ticket of the party. Let us look at Comrade Philip Shuaibu. How well has he played his politics, and what does the future hold for him politically now? I want to start with you, Mr. Curtis.
Well, I think it's very difficult to play politics in Nigeria. At the time that Philip Shuaibu bought his ship with Obaseki, he earned praises from a lot of people who believed that he stood with his governor against an overreaching Godfather. It reminds me of the situation in Lagos here when the current president decided that Akinwumi Ambode was not going to get a second term. The deputy governor then, who is now a senator, was one of the earliest people to come out and said, if Ambode, my boss, is no longer wanted, I am also not going to be supporting him. I think there were some commissioners who stood by Ambode.
A lot of them
and some of them
it.
have paid huge prices. They paid a huge price for doing that, because now they have been excluded from the current political climate
structure.
So again, you remember that Sarah Sosan, when it was rumored that Fashola was going to be given the Ambode treatment, Sarah Sosan stood by Fashola,
yes,
and she paid the price by being removed from the ticket, and that's how Fashola had to run with her. I think Fashola ran the second term with Olorokpe. The other lady.
Yes, the other lady. Yes, from
Ighodalo, who became an senator.
I will get the name. Yes,
who became an advisor to President Muhammadu Buhari.
Yes,
and she's currently, I think, still playing some role in Abuja. So Philip Shuaibu at the time stood with his governor because he felt it was the right thing to do, and I think he played a very critical role in trying to somehow contain the effectiveness and the power of Ashomole in Edo North.
Edo North, yes,
which helped
Obaseki, yes,
to cross the line. And I think that what is happening in Edo State is very sad, because it clearly says that loyalty to your principal is actually not a good thing anymore. Because what I expected, a lot of people who says loyalty is a two-way traffic, that to those who give and to those who receive, they should always be sensitive about their needs. I had thought that in a democratic setting, where plurality is encouraged, where choices can be made, I would have thought that it is not out of place for Philip Shuaibu to want to contest as governor. The best that the governor could have done, or the worst he could have done, is to use his power in the state and ensure that he's defeated, and without making him an enemy or without seeking to destroy him politically as he wants to do. And I think what he's targeting here is that if he is impeached, that once he's impeached, he will not be able to run for office for some time, and he will also not get the benefits that he should get in terms of
after leaving office.
And I think that is an overkill. All right. Yes, there are those who believe that Shuaibu, after the governor told him he wasn't his candidate, should have backed down. Of course, what do you then say to Obaseki? Don't forget that Adams Oshomole was Obaseki's godfather. If Adams Oshomole also told Obaseki, don't run for a second term, and he decided to run for a second term, does that not also speak to the fact that he was disloyal to his political godfather?
You know, that was when we had of Edonobi Lagos.
You understand. So this is why, because our politics does not follow any pattern. It's simply
about interest.
And if it plays out well for you, so be it. Because look at the case of Akpabio. Recall that Akpabio had to step down as Senate minority leader when he joined APC. And the reason he gave for joining APC then was that President Buhari was doing a marvelous job,
yes,
and that he needed to be encouraged by other Nigerians.
And the same man is criticizing that government now.
And so he needed to join Buhari to ensure that the people of Akwa Ibom
gets that
are brought into national politics. That was the reason he gave. But again, the people of Akwa Ibom turned against him for doing that, and they supported their governor Udom Emmanuel. Look, he went in the course of the campaign and said, well, Udom is now talking about God, as God made him governor. They will see whether God will make him governor for the second time. That, of course, offended the Akwa Ibom people so much. At the end of the day, Akpabio lost. Not only that he lost, even when he became a minister and the election he lost to his former deputy was annulled, he refused to go back and contest.
Just stayed in,
knowing that they cannot win. You understand what I'm saying? So I took time to explain all this because there is no pattern to what works for anybody in Nigeria.
So we should be careful to believe our politicians when they take a position on the matter.
Yes, if you are lucky, it turns out well for you. You understand? Because you see, when Akpabio had to step down for the president during the APC primaries, if it didn't go well, he would have lost everything. Again, so it's just like trial and error. I felt that for me as a person, Shuaibu did no wrong wanting to be governor.
Of course, yes, it's within his constitutional rights.
And don't forget that when Shuaibu initially sounded the alarm that there was a move to impeach him, a lot of Nigerians didn't believe it.
He went to court.
Yes, even the governor denied. But here we are now. And I think that what Obaseki is doing, if he intends to continue to participate in politics in the future, is sending the wrong signal to people that he cannot be supported. And let me give my own political prophecy here.
Oh, for sure, on Shuaibu now.
It is not even going to be long before Ighodalo and Obaseki will wear one trouser.
Start their own katakata.
That's if he wins. But this is going to be tough.
So if let's say he wins, you think that it will take too long for the two to...
These things don't work. Allow the process to run. You see what has happened all over the country now. Now, apart from Borno State, where Kashim Shettima is not breathing down
on Zulum,
on the neck of Zulum, and you've not heard of any conflict from there. Almost all the states where people handpicked governors, they're having problem. One of them we're going to talk about today, though it's not fully blown yet.
But it's brewing.
But we're beginning to see that there's a lightning that is about to be struck.
Somebody there's somebody with the matches already.
Yes, and it can become an inferno, a serious inferno. So I think that the members of the House of Assembly of Edo State should look at this issue critically and not just dance along with the governor just because the governor is being vindictive. I saw what happened in Bayelsa State.
Yeah, where he refused to shake his hands. Yeah,
where the Shuaibu wanted to shake him,
and he refused. Such pettiness, and it's prevalent in our politics. I think these people should grow up. All right, Joseph Ronjo, it's your state, it's your darling state, and I know you've been passionately following these events in Edo State. You know the kind of grassroots support, because again, if there's one thing Philip Shuaibu keeps talking about as his strength, he talks about the fact that he's a man of the people, he's on ground. There was even a time he said, I swear he's an imported politician. He doesn't know the terrain. And that look, he knows where the amala joints are. He knows where the local mama put sellers are. They can identify with him. He's been on ground. But to what extent do you think that would take him now? Because again, as it is, he may not eventually be on the ballot in September, and he may also at that time will be referred to as an impeached former deputy governor of Edo State. So where does that leave his political career, really? You knowing his strengths and weaknesses as far as Edo politics is concerned.
I'll go for first thing is, I think let's take it from the Nigeria setting. We do a lot of we have a lot of abnormality here in Nigeria, especially in our politics. That we know that a deputy governor in Nigeria is like sometimes even a director.
It's almost more than inspector.
Some director in some ministry
are even better than deputy
strong than
the deputy governor.
So if Dr. Shuaibu is a deputy governor, is well known everywhere in Edo State, very, very correct. But the political permutation is immediately, maybe there's some narrative that will not favor him. To me, I would have checked the consequence of going ahead with your aspiration. Before this crisis, Dr. Shuaibu is like operational head of Edo State. That if for the PDP, from as far as Edo State is concerned, that if you need anything in Edo State government and you're able to pass through Philip, in fact you will be like maybe 120% sure.
So what has happened to that influence now?
It's gone.
The issue there is this. I believe the Dr. Philip Shuaibu and Obaseki know the real problem that they have.
They are not telling us the truth.
Yes, they may not. The loyal people from supporters of the governor, supporters of the deputy governor, they may not know the real issue that they are having. That's like become like a sworn enemy. So the other thing there is as if the matter is between Obaseki and Philip Shuaibu, but the matter is actually Obaseki, Shuaibu, and the PDP. You understand it? Because, for example, when you assist some crisis between a deputy governor and a governor, sometimes we say those people around there who will be talking, you need to be careful with this person, we need to be careful with this person. Before you know what is happening, it become like a state matter. So the election in Edo State, the narrative that I don't know what Philip was doing when those narratives were being planted about Edo Central. Because at that very time, if I were him, when I said almost every corner, they are looking at Edo Center, right? Okay, there is always tomorrow, and see what I can do. Sit with the governor and other people.
You felt he was over ambitious, really.
Sit. So the Edo Center issue push him to you are being over ambitious. Then again, despite that, he was no longer he and Oshomole were not in the same camp. There are some words that were coming out from Oshomole side, in like very derogatory to Edo Central. So a lot of those guys now say, okay, if Oshomole, who you even attempt to settle with, is coming out with some of these languages, it's as if Edo North is like they don't like
other people to be from Edo Central.
Like any person from Edo Central. So you look at some of those dynamics and now say, okay, let me see what I can do to check some of my aspirations. Dr. Philip did not commit any crime, at political crime that warrant him having this kind of issue that he's having today. And
so you just think he didn't play his politics well. He didn't play his
politics very because he is very close to Blessing. Blessing is the speaker of Edo State House of Assembly, because we're all they are from the same from Edo North.
Edo North, yes.
You understand it? And they are very close. They can have midnight meeting and the rest. So I don't actually know why he is like is on a solo mission. Because there's a lot of people who are loyal to Dr. Shuaibu that to some on their own they just have to be indifferent. Some quickly move to where the front
where the
juicy. So it's as if it's completely, to some extent,
it's an orphan now. It's a political orphan now.
So when you get to that stage, you would have quickly put one or two together. Because one thing is this: I do fear Nigeria. I do fear all of us in Nigeria. Nigeria will be clapping for you. Go on, fight on, fight on. If they not give you one blow and you fly on the guy, say,
we told him.
All right. So to me,
he didn't play his politics well.
He didn't play politics very well. Then I equally learned that there are some stakeholder leaders that are maybe that be trying to
come in to settle the matter.
Okay. Maybe the speechman we just to give him some water to be mopping. But later they will find a way to say, okay, let's just allow this guy
give him soft landing, allow him to finish his tenure as deputy governor.
Because the way he's going, if he go this way, he may have some serious political challenges whereby it's like a straight fight between him and Edo Central.
All right.
But I see him doing, if eventually his case is not resolved,
yes,
I see him doing a lot of damage to the PDP.
I was going to get there because again, there are people who have said that, look, now that we have the list, we know, like I said, we have pretenders. In fact, some of these people may be placeholders. Just go into that party to hold the ticket. I think if we're going to look at the permutations now, we have. I think it's going to be a 2-horse race.
No,
without any disrespect to the media Akpata.
Yeah. The election is actually between APC
and PDP.
Fuhad, there are some of those guys in the Edo State House of Assembly.
Yes.
Go and do forensic audit of the money they used to buy the ticket for their election. The money come from like PDP borrow you money to go and buy tickets.
Yes. But what I'm saying, I'm coming to you, Joseph Folonshaw, is that look, at the end of the day, when we look at the calculations, I think for Mr. Olumide Akpata, it's just going to be one of those decent showings without any disrespect. These are just our own permutations from what we're getting on ground. It's going to be a horse race between the APC and the PDP. Mr. Aswe, Ighodalo, Okpebholo.
I would think it's a 3-horse race.
With the third horse in the race.
And I'll tell you why.
Okay, why?
Don't forget that in the presidential election,
yes,
Edo was won by Labour Party.
Okay.
And don't also forget that if Peter Obi, who is still very popular in Edo State, takes it as
puts his weight
to campaign hard, very hard among the young people in Edo, although all politics are local.
But you know, by Mr. Curtis, why people would argue this with you is that look, the showing at the presidential elections for the Labour Party in Edo State was completely different at the state level.
You know what happened?
Yes.
I think the political parties went to the drawing. They went back to the drawing table
and re-strategized
and carried out some certain. You saw that in places like Lagos and most of the states,
yes,
people were not allowed to freely vote anymore, which was what happened in the presidential election. You know that governorship election, they had to change the formula, and and then work towards specific goals.
Yes.
You saw what happened in Enugu State. How Peter Mbai emerged against a Dodger because of the fervency of the Labour Party voters. Yes. You even saw how the guy, I think the candidate of Labour Party for the Senate that defeated the former governor of Enugu State, the person that was there before was killed, and the other
and then somebody was replaced. Yes.
And then, so look, I think there's going to be a 3-horse race.
Okay.
Olumide Akpata may not win, but he may play a significant role in deciding who wins at the end of the day. And the reason why the PDP or the current governor has to be very careful with Shuaibu is that don't forget that Shuaibu's root is in APC, right? Shuaibu was, notwithstanding Oshomole saying the APC is not an ID camp
for anybody. Politicians will say that, but if
politicians,
yes.
If at the end of the day they find that it's useful,
I think it's going to be the call of Mr. Senator Monday Okpebholo,
yes,
really, because he owns the ticket now,
and that he can deliver. He can help deliver the victory to APC.
At least in Edo North, put some weight in Edo North.
You know that they were aligned with him. They form an
alliance with him,
and then they give him something politically. It could be a minister, it could be whatever it is. You understand? So I think that the PDP ought to be very careful
with Shuaibu,
with the way they treat him, because Shuaibu will quietly dump the party. Then number 2, Obaseki is also not sitting very comfortably with the ESCO of the PDP in the state.
He came out from he did. So
yes, Shuaibu has been his representative in playing that politics.
Yeah.
He's not actually not a politician, so he plays above the fray. Shuaibu is the one who has been
who does the groundwork,
going into the knife fight with everybody. So they have to be very careful how they treat him. Again, you must understand that a wounded lion in the forest is a threat to other animals.
Yes.
So,
all right.
I think let's on the side of the Labour Party.
Yes,
influence in the last election. The time of before that election, during that election, there was a fraction. The people were in court to know which faction would be recognized by the governor faction and the other faction,
yes.
And that was what they formed. I think some of the other some people who are loyal to, who are still loyal to the governor, decide to push some people from, allow some people to go and register as a Labour candidate for State House of Assembly and other.
So you think the PDP doesn't have that problem now?
PDP, the problem that they have, PDP have a problem that they need to actually sit down
and solve
to address. Because if you look at it, that the chairman of the party sits under some men.
He's been kidnapped.
That was as a result of still the issue that they have at the primary. So the security agency will try, but to me, for that man to be out, they need to actually talk. It may not be through security measure that they will be able to get that guy out of the chairman of the PDP, out of people that are having him on their own state. And so I believe the PDP need to sit down and see what they can do with the State House of Assembly, because you have to weigh a lot of options. If you go ahead with the impeachment of
Shuaibu,
Dr. Philip, who is a grassroots person, do you want to face the consequence? Again, what are you doing? Then give it to the governor. On if not, I think the governor, when you talk of outside politics, that you can look at the way basically handling a lot of issues. You can say, oh guy, you need to address this issue in this. They would have been what you're supposed to do. But when you talk of governance, that is with Nigeria. We can't be compared with maybe America or Canada and the rest of them. Issue of governance in Edo State, I think Obaseki is getting
well. You think he's doing well?
Seriously, getting a lot of tea right, because what I'm saying it is almost all the 3 senatorial district, Edo North, Edo South, and the Central, apart from political power, appointment, he's very, very smart with it. What PDP were doing, which some of us did not like, was the governor is from the South, the deputy governor from Edo North, the speaker from Edo North. So it's as if the Edo Central
is not part, of the government.
I think that was the card that the governor played. That is as if the major place that they are the two major parties are going to play a lot of game is they are going back to they will be going to Edo North
and Edo South.
Edo South, they already have their own direction. So it's going to be very, very tough. Then Akpata, let's look at when the election is closed. As we go into the election, we now know whether Akpata is fully a Labour person or
he has a ticket of the party. Which other
politicians in Nigeria?
Or you think it's just one of those calculations?
In Nigeria, they are wonderful people.
Let me add.
Well, I can't blame you for.
Let me also add.
Yes.
What the list that INEC has published
yes,
may not be the final list.
Yes.
Because the courts can make pronouncements.
Through a spanner.
Well, INEC has always said that. Look, sometimes court pronouncement change some of these things.
So the court can wake up tomorrow and say Ighodalo is not the candidate of the PDP.
We will say Shuaibu is still in court too. So anything can still happen.
But whatever happened in the election, I do say it here. Whatever happened in the election, when the election proper, these are party issues. At the election proper, I believe the oracle will speak and say, please, I don't want peace I don't want crisis in Edo State. Every party, please.
I think
go and arrange yourself.
I think that's what good thing about Edo State. The palace has a way of reining people in when he wants to descend into chaos and crisis. So we know that would come eventually. But for now,
the palace is apolitical.
That's what we always hear. But whether it's apolitical or political, the reality is that somebody will emerge as the governor in September. It's going to be interesting, really, to see what comes out of the elections in Edo State. It's a Political Roundtable, Mainland 98.3 FM. We have Barrister Curtis Adima in the studio. Joseph Olorisho is here. We have looked at Edo politics. Of course, the names of all of the candidates as released by INEC. We've decided to read all of them out, and it's all complete. Everyone has somebody who is going to be on the ballot, whether they are pretenders or real contenders. We would know. Again, some of these things would happen by Curtis. When people now say, "Oh, we have decided to now join." 3
days to the
election.
Group page.
Yeah, they will now say, because I think what people do with that is that, look, just go and get the ticket of a party.
No, sometimes they give
so that you can
money.
use that to negotiate.
Sometimes they give you money
to go and get the ticket, and then at the last minute,
so just
say, well,
I've submitted my
after considerations,
I submitted my manifesto to him,
and I believe he's a better person to handle my manifesto.
Remember this guy Kenneth Maswagon?
Yes,
who was on TV that time saying he would never step down for Baseke. I've been a member of this party. I built the party when.
And then this is happening. So we'll wait to see whether any of these people will step down at the last minute. You know these ways of I've submitted my manifesto to it because of these guys. Well, we'll wait to see. My mind tells me that, especially this boot party person, is just a placeholder. But let's go straight to the second issue, and that is the Labour Party. Interestingly, we've talked about Mr. Olumide Akpata, and we are wondering if the Labour Party would have that kind of dissension we saw in the general elections in 2023. And the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, has given the biggest hint yet about the possibility of him dumping the party ahead of the 2027 election season. He said this in an engagement with the supporters on his verified X handle that's hosted by Parallel Facts yesterday. Obi said, our engagement is about Nigeria. I actually wanted to read the statement. Our engagement is about Nigeria. There are time to change our focus. What we want to do is not about Labour Party. It is about what the obedience wants to do about Nigeria. We are thinking about water. We are thinking about power. We are thinking about employment, thinking about security. That should be our focus. The other matter we'll deal with. We are somewhere. We were somewhere. We didn't start with Labour Party. I'm reading it out so that we understand the mind of Mr. Peter Obi as far as the crisis of the Labour Party is concerned. That the other matter we'll deal with. We were somewhere. We didn't start with the Labour Party. I'm a Christian. Jesus said, when you go into a city, try to change them. Live with them. Fast with them. In the end, you can't come out and even wash the sand that is on their shoes. He didn't say you should go there and die with them. So, going biblical now. That Jesus has encouraged you to go there, die with them, wash their feet, do everything with them. But there was no instruction that you have to go there and die with them. I tell you, I'm making spirited efforts to change them, the Labour Party now. But I'm not going to die with them. This will not stop what we set out to do. We'll try to change them. If we can't, we will leave them. We will not die with them. Repeating this idea of dying with the Labour Party. The crisis of the Labour Party is out there for all of us to see. What has been regarded as a kangaroo congress was held in Newi just this past week, and Mr. Julius Abure, with some delegates put together, has re-elected him as the chairman of the party, even though the NLC is now in the picture. It used to be the faction of Mr. Olumide Akpata and that of Mr. Julius Abure, but now we have the NLC who are saying that they are the owners of the party. They founded the party. There's an interesting statement from Ayuba Waba, the former president of the NLC, as to how the Labour Party emerged. And I think we should take that statement before I allow you, of course, I have your thoughts on this particular one. The former NLC president, Mr. Ayuba Waba, has weighed in on the crisis between the NLC and the Labour Party, saying the Labour Party is answerable to the NLC. And according to him, he said, first and foremost, the Labour Party was formed by the NLC. In the realization of a clear objective in the constitution of the NLC under Article 3, Item 1, the major objective of the NLC is to promote, defend, and advance the economic, political, and social rights and well-being of Nigerian workers and pensioners. We own the Labour Party. That's Mr. Ayuba, the former chairman of the NLC, saying it was formed under the leadership of Pascal Bafiao as party of social democracy. Under Adams Oshiomhole, organs decided to change the name of the Labour Party to the Labour Party. So it moved from what it was before under Adams Oshiomhole to Labour Party. And the first chairman was SOZ Ejiofor, who later handed over to Dan Ayaun. The same Ejiofor that is saying that is now the chairman of the caretaker committee. Because again, what they are now saying is that, look, there's a caretaker committee led by Ejiofor who has now taken charge of the party, and that they will be organizing another congress to choose the leadership of the party. The Labour Party, as headed by Julius Abura, saying they don't even know any caretaker committee. In fact, some of them are even saying that Ejiofor has since left the party, is not a member of the party. So if you look at all of this, really, it's too much of a crisis, honestly, to deal with. Even as a journalist, you try to follow some of these things. It's too complex and confusing. But people have said that, look, at the end of the day, Peter Obi will leave the Labour Party. Luckily, from this statement, he has also alluded to the fact that there's what is called the obedience movement. You already see him out of the party, really, because he didn't even attend the last Congress that was held.
The question is not whether Obi will leave the Labour Party or not. The question is, when will he leave? Okay. Because he told you now, in the statement you read, he told you, he originally does not belong to Labour Party. He was a 2-term governor on the ticket of Apuga. As a Soludo calls it,
yes.
And then he swore that he would never leave Apuga.
I left.
And he left Apuga for PDP. Where he was the vice presidential candidate
for PDP.
with Atiku. You know, the then Turaki Adamawa, now Waziri Adamawa. Okay. And then when he saw clearly that he wasn't going to be on the ticket again with Atiku, he ported to Labour Party.
Labour Party, yes.
Took the ticket. And because of the discontent of Nigerians with the existing political arrangement, the obedient movement emerged from the NSAS, and then it became very popular. And so if Labour Party, look, Obi achieved what he achieved in spite of Labour Party. It's not because of...
So it was not about the party, it was about that movement, yeah.
So, and he knows that because he doesn't control the Labour Party structure. He doesn't control the leadership of the Labour Party. So he understands that even the way Labour Party is right now, even if he runs on the ticket of the party, he's not going to make any impact. Because there are enemies within the party now that will do everything to sabotage
his aspirations.
And that's why the leadership contest immediately started. You recall that when Lamida Papa came,
yes,
one of the first things he wanted to do was to withdraw the lawsuit challenging the election by saying that he, as the authentic chairman of the party, his faction of the party did not authorize any lawsuit
to go the presidential courts.
That the election was all right, there was no need to challenge any election and all that. So you are going to have these centrifugal forces
within the party,
tearing apart the party. Whereby, if he says the Labour Party belongs to NLC should take their party and eat it.
But the Labour Party is having none of that. They are saying that, look, that's the Abure-led faction of the party now. What they are saying is that, look, because again, if you look at the statement of Waba...
Did Abure form any party?
Because again, if you look at what Ayuba Waba is saying, he said that, look, the party was formed by the NLC and registered by NLC.
So that's
it's like it's like you built a house, you got a CFO, then you rented the apartment. So you must have an interest in how the property is managed. So he's saying that they own the house.
I agree with him.
Yes, that's Ayuba Waba now.
Did Abure form any other party apart from Labour Party?
No, he didn't form the Labour Party.
Okay, how did he emerge as the chairman?
I think in 2021 he was elected, you know.
By who?
By the organs of the party.
By organs of the party controlled by NLC.
NLC, yes.
So what is then the argument about? They just, you see, again, it comes down to the fact that we cannot manage our affairs. And we also cannot wait for... Nigerians are not used to delayed gratification. Let's build the system first. Let it become so strong.
Let's consolidate, yeah.
And then over time, we can all take the benefits. Everybody wants to be in at the same time. And that's what you are saying. And if that is not going to happen, they don't care if it is
let's just tear it apart.
Let's tear apart and let's move our way. So for me, like I told you, you know, it was last Sunday we're talking here. Between then and now, I think about 6 members of the Labour Party in one House of Assembly in Enugu have all ported.
Yes, I've gone to the... Well, they have a good ground to do that.
So it has started.
But what they've said is that, look, there's a crisis at the national level.
That's what I'm saying. Those one in those state house is coming.
So that means the Labour people...
It has started. The Labour Party is going to become an empty nest between now and 2027 because they cannot even manage their affairs. If you can... Who wants to run on the ticket of Labour Party now?
With this crisis.
Because which organ of the party is going to submit your name to INEC? It's even a miracle that Olumide Akpata made it to the list of INEC.
And you think that even politicians will be careful, because if you ride on a crisis-ridden political party, you may even lose your candidature at the end of the day.
The only governor they have, waving pot.
In fact, the governor did not attend, but he sent his deputy governor there to supervise.
The party.
So,
not a viable platform
so you think Obi is out of the party, really?
Obi is out of the party. All the serious people who went to the party to pick ticket and won elections will be out between now and the next 6 months.
But you said, Folorunso, why is it that our politicians can't be selfless? Because again, I look at Mr. Julius Abure, too many controversies and crises around him. There have been several allegations as to corruption. Even his ESCO members have also taken him to the cleaners. Recently, he had this police, back and forth. And then you look at the man, I'm like, why is that a politician can say, okay, for the sake of the party, I want to step aside. Let new people.
For Nigeria.
For the sake of the party.
I know they step aside though. So
I'm just saying.
Yeah, Oga Fuhad, the challenge that we will be having is only in Nigeria, maybe some African country, that when you give someone some of this political position, there's no restriction on how he controls the fund of that very organization.
Do you think it's about money now?
Yeah, everything. Money play a lot of key role in whatever, because if the money was equally mentioned to that, they don't have correct account of the way
there have been issues with that expense money.
Because I don't think they actually have a way of spending whereby, okay, you raise a voucher, send it to someone will sign before you know what is happening.
Don't tell anybody. Don't tell you something.
So now my biggest challenge is, I think Nigeria is going to pay a supreme price for this, because Nigeria, everybody looking for alternative to PDP and APC, and that's why when obedience movement approach Labour Party, and everybody go with
a lot of Nigerians, many Nigerians,
over is it
6 million votes.
Now the challenge is, if you say this, the obedience movement will want to ask for your head. I think Peter Obi should look for a way to, maybe he should do course on crisis management.
Do you think he can manage this crisis?
No, if you look at it, why did he leave ABGA? Because of something that
happened in ABGA.
Because if you are a sitting governor for 8 years, you know there are crises, but you should look for a way to see, let me build at least the current president build his political career down from
the AD, ACM,
PDP. So it may be that there are dynamics in party, but it was a bit like it was in one party. So, but a situation whereby Peter Obi leave ABGA down to PDP, just as he noticed crisis in ABGA, he moved to PDP. Now look at that, the crisis in PDP. You want to wait there whether it's bigger than ABGA or crisis or
Labour Party.
He could not continue. He moved to
Labour Party.
If he's going to SDP now, he need to equally go there and measure the temperature of the crisis.
But there might also be crisis in where he's going to.
There must be crisis in that very place. So I will advise that, okay,
should he form his own political party? Is it too late?
For him to form a political party, that party after 2027 election, they will actually register it. You know our system. In as much they know that Peter Obi is a strong material for them to get him register. It's going to be very, very tough. Then the other one now is you cannot feel the hand of, is it the hand of Esau and the PDP, APC, and other party will not just sit down and say, okay, let's
allow Labour Party have peace.
Have a rope that the rope will not be disturbing him. So I believe it's going to be his journey continue, except maybe by miracle our lawmaker decide to come with independent candidates.
Okay, but
say, okay, let's have independent candidate before the next election. But I don't see the possibility
of that happening. I wanted you to talk about the possibility of outsiders, because again, there are people who keep saying, "Oh, this crisis of the Labour Party is being sponsored. Most likely, it's the APC rules," because again, they think. But
even if it's being sponsored,
yes,
because those sponsoring them can find people that can
use. Yeah.
That's why. Let me tell you, and don't tell anybody this.
The mics are off.
It's because of money.
That's just it.
You know, a lot.
Trust me, the mics are off.
You know, a lot of money flowed into Labour Party.
Of course, yes.
For the election, from people in diaspora, from young people who wanted to change. That is the money they are fighting for. The campaign.
And I think they sold forms too. They were able to raise forms. You know, yeah.
Don't tell anybody.
So everything is about money.
Yeah, it's about money. Yeah.
Even that is the reason to portray what Oga called this. That is the reason Akpata Akpata being the party. I did not even kill. No, immediately.
Suddenly he wants to take charge.
Moving from one court to the other.
Election. Did you see everyone fight for Labour Party?
Even when they have Mimiko as governor, they were not fighting.
Let me tell you, the dues that NLC members should be paying to Labour Party, were they paying it? Do you understand? All this struggle is just about benefit,
money,
interest.
Yeah, what do you make of Joe Ajaero in this conversation? Because Abure keeps accusing Joe Ajaero of being ambitious. That look, he has a highs on politics, and
about that. You saw him demonstrate that in Imo State where he was beaten. But it's not a crime to be ambitious, but it's only a crime to allow your ambition to destroy the platform
that you may want to ride on in the future.
That's the problem.
I remember the wise saying of the late MK Abiola that, look, the water you still drink, you don't pee into it.
Well, Nigeria,
they'll pee into
it and drink it later.
Spoil itself.
Well, okay. Well, all right. But so can we just conclude that, look, the Labour Party wants to go back to the old days of them just being one of those political parties?
Come and take your party.
Okay.
Everybody needs it.
And again, Peter Obi continue with this sojourn.
So what are they fighting? What are they fighting over, really? Because if you remove Mr. Peter Obi from that party, unless I'm wrong, that party is not different from Boots party.
But they don't care now.
They don't care.
Those guys doesn't care.
All right, so we'll leave it at that. We'll continue to look.
Even the governor that they produce, that's Mimiku.
Yes, then
was actually
eventually left the party.
No, he was actually with this president.
Yes.
Was with this president.
Yes, I agree.
This president was the one who
very instrumental to how he emerged as governor. Yes,
Gago was defected.
Yes. So it's not as if the Labour Party are really.
It was just a hired platform.
So it's just all noise, really. We should not bother. Okay, we'll wait to see what comes out of the Labour Party, really. But I think because there are people who have been expecting Mr. Peter Obi to come out with an emphatic statement, and I think this statement is emphatic enough. If we try to change them, if we can't change them, we'll leave them. I was not there to die with them. So I think that's enough for anybody to know that.
I want to beg Peter Obi, should you equally go and check if you are going to SDP?
You have not said SDP. Why did you keep saying SDP?
No, we hear a lot of things now. So let them equally check the crisis there.
If the Enugu legislators went back to the PDP, who says Mr. Peter Obi cannot go back to the PDP?
There is no political party that is immune to crisis.
Conflict.
Even the ruling party is immersed in their own.
So because there are people who are saying that, look,
there's nothing to worry about.
We don't know what the PDP.
Nigerian politics, so we can fit anywhere.
And they are saying that we don't know what the PDP is planning for 2027. Yeah. Mr. Peter Obi could well go back to the party, pick the ticket of the party. It's not an impossibility, but we'll keep our fingers crossed and continue to follow development. Now, it's still Political Roundtable, Mainland 98.3 FM. My name is Saheed Fuhad. We have Barrister Curtis Adigma in the studio. We have Joseph Olorunso here. We've dealt with Edo politics, looking at the political future of Philip Shuaibu. Now that INEC has released the name of 17 candidates that will be running for the governorship seat in September. We have also looked at Mr. Peter Obi's statement as far as the crisis in the Labour Party is concerned. Very simple and emphatic. I'm in the Labour Party. We'll try to change them. If we can't change them, we'll leave them. I'm not there to die with the party. So again, we'll continue to follow that development and hope that something will come out of that eventually. Now, the third issue, I think the biggest of the issues we're going to be looking at on the roundtable this evening, and that's the politics in Kaduna State. I think the man at the center of it all is the reason why this is a very big issue for me. We're talking about Manam Nasiru El-Rufai. He has not said anything directly on this particular one, but like Barrister Curtis, I think you said that sometimes you make statements by proxy in politics, so that whatever somebody is saying is as good as you saying it. And then if the son of a politician is saying something, I think it's as good as saying this is what the person is saying. So the governor of Kaduna State, Malam Uba Sani, has issued a statement, and then he has got an immediate reply from the son of the former governor, that's Bashir El-Rufai. So as one of the sons of the immediate past governor of Kaduna State, Malam Nasir El-Rufai, who has accused the governor Uba Sani of incompetence and poor performance. He was reacting to comments made earlier by Governor Sani regarding the past administration as led by Malam Nasir El-Rufai. So addressing a town hall meeting in Kaduna on Saturday, the governor had said he inherited a huge debt burden of $587 million. That's about 85 billion naira. And 115 contractual liabilities from the El-Rufai administration. He said the huge debt burden was eating deep in the state's federal allocation. The governor explained that 7 billion out of 10 billion federal allocation to the state in March was deducted to service the state's debt. That's huge, Mr. Curtis. Because what the governor is saying that, look, in March we got 10 billion. But because of the gbese that was left for me, a whooping 7 billion was deducted. So I'm left with 3 billion naira. He further lamented that the state was left with 3 billion, an amount he said was not enough to pay salaries, as the state's monthly salary bill stands at 5.2 billion naira.
And he says it's not borrowing.
I'm coming. And he said, despite the ill debt burden of 587
internal generation,
he said the salary is 5.something billion and he only has 3 billion left. So he said, despite the ill debt burden of $587 million, that's 7 billion naira, and 115 contractual liabilities sadly inherited from the previous administration, we remain resolute in meeting Kaduna State towards progress and sustainable development. We have conducted a thorough assessment of our situation and are sharpening our focus accordingly, Governor Sani had said. And he said, up till now, he has not borrowed. Maybe he will borrow tomorrow. We may wake up tomorrow to see him now borrow. But as it is, he's saying it will be difficult for him to even pay salaries. The simple thing as to paying salaries will be difficult. Now, he has said the statement, just of course, being open about the current situation, financial situation of the state. The son of the governor, in his ex-handle, accused Governor Sani of surrounding himself with incompetent aides appointed for political patronage. He said instead of admitting his incompetence, the current administration resorted to deflect him by raising alarm on a debt burden inherited from the El-Rufai administration. The former governor's son further questioned Sani's wisdom in building a banquet hall of 7 billion naira, while in the same breath lamenting about the debt left by the previous administration. He wrote, this is us quoting him now, that's the son of the former governor, these guys have realized that they are only incompetent and the only way to mask the nonsense is to deflect. From a governor that is always sleeping in Abuja, he said the governor doesn't sleep in the state, he's always in Abuja, to a litany of incompetent aides that were only rewarded for foolish political reasons. For your information, it was the senator, now referring to the governor, that it was the senator from Kaduna who lobbied and approved the loans. One would think that from all the FARC allocations, these unserious clowns have changed to dollars. So he's alleging that, look, the things we have always been saying, that despite the fact that this man is complaining about money, they still change FARC allocation to dollars. That's what the former governor
said it here.
But we said it, but people will say, but this is the son of El-Rufai saying it, that look, these unserious clowns have changed to dollars, that some of the FARC allocation have been changed to dollars. That will be the least of their problem. The current administration in Kaduna is building a banquet hall of 7 billion naira and is lamenting about debt left by the previous government. This tweet has elicited a lot of reactions.
Heavy allegation.
Very heavy and direct. The choice of words also very heavy. And that's coming from the son of the former governor.
He knows the governor. He knows how he begged his dad to get this job.
That's Obasani now.
Yes, there were a lot of candidates, a lot of people who wanted to be governor.
Who wanted the job, yes.
And El-Rufai had to push them aside for Obasani.
It was a serious battle, really, yes.
Don't also forget that El-Rufai had to spend so much money because it was a big battle. The National Assembly election in Kaduna State produced 2 PDP senators, 1 APC senator.
So the state was almost going to go to the PDP.
Also going to go to the PDP.
The Labour factor too.
And
the Labour Party was also there, yes. At least they picked 1 or 2 seats, House of Rep seats.
Obasani knows the state of affairs before he chose to be governor. And the interesting thing here is that, first of all, Obasani is not alleging that El-Rufai stole the money.
He's just saying,
what he's saying. He's saying that the debt burden is so huge that I'm finding it difficult to perform, right? And then what he said, factually, might even be difficult to accept, because if you say the federal allocation to the state is 10 billion,
yes,
and you are paying 7 billion
as debt,
and
as servicing of debt,
your salary is 5 point something,
and you have 3 billion left.
You have 3 million left.
3 billion.
How do you look at the State House of Assembly? At least nobody has heard that they are not being paid. Of course. How do you maintain even the government house? And then to choose the priority of a banquet hall for 7 billion when you are complaining that there's
no funds.
You understand? So while I think that Bashir El-Rufai probably went overboard in his reaction, but he made some critical points. For instance, he accused the governor of converting funds
to dollars.
Into dollars.
Going up.
Because it's a matter of supply and demand.
And then you see their supporters blaming the ordinary people.
I think what is important here, I've read about the conspiracy theory that Obasani is actually being used by the powers from above to begin to smear
El-Rufai.
reputation of El-Rufai because of his latest political moves. And if not, how come the timing, is curious. That how come El-Rufai just a week ago visited Abu Ningi,
executive secretariat,
and then all of a sudden, Sani calls a town hall meeting, and then somebody was planted who asked him a question about the state of affairs of
and he's now talking about debt burden of the past administration.
But like I said, interestingly, Sani did not accuse the former governor of stealing the funds.
But does he have to say it directly?
No.
If he says each debt burden.
Yeah, and for those who have been to Kaduna State,
yes,
they will tell you that the former governor actually did did very well. And of course, for him to do that, he has to spend money. All the money, of course, were not coming from Kaduna State. He had to borrow. And let me tell you, there is no government in this country, except for, was it in
Anambra State? Yeah, I said that.
Peter Obi even said he left money, but the governor who succeeded him said he didn't leave any money.
He didn't say anything.
So
he only saw some investments, and it amounted to nothing.
The issue of one governor leaving debt for the other is also commonplace in Nigeria. That is no longer news. Look at Anambra State. I can tell you from an insider knowledge that Obiano was giving every ward in Anambra State 500,000 for the election that produced Charles Soludo. I'm not talking about money he paid to other political operatives.
These are just
to ensure. But at the end of the day, Charles Soludo said, he left me a huge debt burden. Sani also knew that a lot of money was spent on his election. Where did they come from? The state funds. And this is the odd kind of situation we talk about in our country, where government officials deploy public funds for purposes of election, instead of going to raise the money from voters, like he's done in other parts of the world. You announce your campaign, all right? Those who have confidence that you can change their situation or you can help solve their problems begin to contribute funds to you. But what we have here is that once you indicate your intention to run for office, you are the one who starts spending money. And because these guys don't have the funds on their own, they fall back on those in government who are supporting them to bring the money. You see? And this is why we'll continue to have this crisis. And the solution is simple. Open up the process. Let the people choose
their leaders.
Open up the process. You see now, River State, what is still going on in River State?
I avoided that headache.
Benue State, Benue.
Yeah,
now we have two party chairmen in Benue. There's a party chairman for the governors,
and then the one for Abuja,
and then there's the one for the leader of the party, Akume
in Abuja.
You understand? Such that the deputy governor is an orphan today because he cannot even work with his governor since he believes more in the national leader.
Most likely he was given as he was planted there.
Of course, picked him to be
the deputy governor.
Yes. So this is how the crises that are clearly avoidable. But we don't learn lessons. We don't learn lessons from history.
All right.
These things will continue to repeat themselves.
So do you think that we are in for another round of crisis in Kaduna State?
I think so. I think the fire has started in Kaduna State. Except the political leaders in Kaduna now moving quickly to douse the tension.
Are there leaders beyond El-Rufai?
But of course, like I said here before, a tiger cannot give birth to a chicken. El-Rufai is not a man who is afraid to go into a knife war with a gun. And so,
he bomb himself.
And so his son is. You can see.
I can see the tone of the message.
The guy is.
Look, you read the tweet, and it's as good as El-Rufai talking.
Even in the National Assembly, he's building a reputation for himself as someone who is not afraid to speak up. And so the days ahead are going to be interesting. I mean, but the crisis has started.
All right, Joseph Olorunso. This young man has because again, if you go on this kind of direct attack on a governor for just making statements as well, I have this problem, I might not be able to do too many things at this time. There's a huge dead body. Like by Sakontis have said, the governor didn't say El-Rufai stole the money. Yeah. He just said, look, I have this huge dead body on me.
No,
this is the books.
Is that even with what is available, it can make impact, but it's hired incompetent fools, like he said.
So when you look at those kind of strong words against the governor, what do you think?
Oh God, the young guy may be young, but when you have information, you can talk with authority. So I think the guy have information.
But shouldn't he be more discreet about?
No, because when someone says something and concern your father,
He didn't say his father stole money.
But he concerned. His father was former governor of.
But he didn't say he stole the money.
The governor of Kaduna State is wrongly selecting his fight, because you know that.
That's Fuhad Saheed now.
Yes, because I'm not seeing him having upper hand on this fight. Because El-Rufai, if you look at former governor of Kaduna State, El-Rufai, he's the only you know the time of Mefele versus Naira, and he's the only governor that lead governor of Kogi State,
yes,
went
and
to court
and they fought the battle here.
And that was Zafara.
And Matawali.
He would go and meet the president. He was confronting whether those people Buhari kitchen cabinet.
But what do you think about the conspiracy theory? Mr. Chris have just said it. That look, El-Rufai is back. This was a man that was expected to be a major power broker in this current administration. We saw all of the drama when he came to the Senate screen, how he was dropped, how his ego was bruised, and now he has appeared like a wounded lion who has returned into the political scene, making all manner of suspicious moves and all of that. And in the political scene, the conspiracy is already there that look, the governor may actually be working on a script to tame El-Rufai. You know, this is the way politics start. They first start with your own base. They make sure they deplete you completely. Do you think that look, if the presidency, as it's been alluded, the conspiracy now is behind the governor, it may just be a battle that he will win and then tame, whatever political influence we think El-Rufai has in Kaduna State?
To me, for that showed that El-Rufai did not waste his money in this journey to go for more study. It showed that he was in the decline, now come for research, to do research on the status and the capacity and competency of these the people in Abuja now. Because if they are maybe from underground, they are trying to influence that, I mean that they're actually equipping El-Rufai to know their strength and their weakness.
The fight is not you think he's equipping or a fight?
You are equipping El-Rufai. He's a fighter already. You know that he's a fighter. To me, if I'm in Fuhad Sani, El-Rufai, if I'm sure of Fuhad Sani, El-Rufai is a person that if he find me trouble, I'll go and talk to him. And so,
so you think he can't go head to head?
I won't go.
He's the governor of the state. The resources are with him.
There are some people that did themselves. Just like Fuhad, there's no thing. If you see an area boy now, he will find you trouble. Sometimes you just look at yourself and say, okay, Oga, hope you know.
I don't want to go into the mud fight.
You understand? So, Sani go into maybe rather from the back, or he want to be a person that
direct confrontation.
El-Rufai from beginning is going to lose that fight, because El-Rufai has been a fighter, and I believe equally. People that I not say do disappoint or he betray. Politicians, there will be element of disappointment, betrayal, and I believe El-Rufai might have work. I equally have this in mind that this governor might, in one way or the other, disappoint him or betray him. But I know that El-Rufai have a lot of information about this governor, because he was very instrumental to bring him in.
All right.
At the appropriate time, he may decide to go and hold that rope. And started drawing it.
Okay.
Then before you know what is happening, the man will be singing another song.
My conclusion is that I think Bashir El-Rufai overreacted to the comment by the governor. But again, we still don't know what is brewing on the ground. He probably may have information that the governor speaking at the time, the timing of the governor's speech is auspicious. I mean, as far as they are concerned, it's being used from some. Don't also forget that he accused him of not living in Kaduna.
Yes, he stays in Abuja.
He plays his politics in Abuja,
and that he has employed a lot of incompetent, for political patronage.
Those guys are incompetent. Many of his father cabinet and I think.
Once again, I think some of these guys would have been chosen. Yeah.
No, some member of cabinet of El-Rufai are still part of this government. Means that you are saying that your father equally.
Well, we don't have the details of who was left behind.
Who was appointed,
and whether they are still there. But I think
I know of Sam. Sam is still a commissioner. There was a commissioner throughout 8 years of
Marua.
Yes, he's still.
No, he wasn't a commissioner from the beginning. Sam Marua started as one of the press guys.
Then commissioner.
But he's still there in government with them.
Well, I wouldn't know.
No, he's there. He's there.
But what I think is important here is that Kaduna will work better with the former governor and the current governor working together to provide solution. The young man Bashir should calm down a little bit. I think he reacted.
Don't you think it's just a firebrand? Like a lion will never born a goat. El-Rufai doesn't.
And probably spoke.
El-Rufai doesn't miss words when he speaks.
Probably spoke for his father. The
This is something El-Rufai would have said too.
Yeah, but I think the man El-Rufai chose to play hardball politics.
Yes.
I stay above the fray and let my son
take the
do the damage.
But Fuad, if the conspiracy is true, but would you advise those guys in Abuja to fix other issues
and going to that battle?
Yes, going to that battle, it will actually completely distract them.
Every battle for 2027, I think everybody.
Yeah, started.
He started already. So you don't say they should not. Every battle will be fought. Really, that's the way politicians fight their battle.
Why not attend to Nigeria issue? Because 2027.
No, that one. Joseph, why are you there?
The battles being fought, not Nigeria.
Not Nigeria issue.
What are you talking?
The politician will tell you that that's even the real battle as far as Nigeria is concerned. Well, we'll look at the last issue. We'll go very fast on this one so that we can open the phone lines and begin to read the messages we have on Facebook. A lot of them actually. We have on Facebook now. It's still Political Roundtable. You can still drop your messages on our Facebook and YouTube platform. And then, of course, I can see that the lines are already buzzing. We're also going to start to pick calls very, very soon. But, the president of the African Development Bank, AFDB, Mr. Adesina, has proposed renaming Nigeria. And the name is the United States of Nigeria. So for short, it will be USN. It looks like a wrestling bout, but that's what he's proposing. He said this is a statement by special advisor on industrialization, Professor Banji Oyelaro Oyeyinka, on Saturday. Adesina, who was awarded the 2024 Bafemi Awolowo Prize for Leadership, made the suggestion in his speech titled "Making a New Nigeria: Welfarist Policies and People-Centered Development." He clarified that remaining the country, the United States of Nigeria, will alter how the states and Abuja view one another, with states serving as the pivot and the center as their ally rather than their overlord. I think he's just talking about restructuring, really. He said we must be audacious. Instead of the federal government of Nigeria, we could think of the United States of Nigeria. The old would give way to the new. We would change the relational mindset between the states and Abuja. The fulcrum will be the states, while the center would support them, not lord over them. Basically saying that, look, there should be more powers given to the state as a fulcrum of development and governance, while the center will now just support whatever is happening at the state level. He added, the achievement of economically viable entities, the viability of the national entity, requires constitutional changes to devolve more economic and fiscal powers to the states or regions. The stronger the states or regions, the stronger the federating unit. So I think basically he only came with the idea of a new name. Basically what he's talking about is what's devolving power to the states, and then of course you have the center now supporting, not being the major power broker as far as governance is concerned.
We can do that without changing the name.
Maybe he thinks a name will now engender it in our mind.
Ivory Coast changed to Cote d'Ivoire. It didn't change anything for them.
Even Ghana.
From Gold Coast to Ghana. but
we are going to have
yes,
unity.
But don't think it's a good name, United States of Nigeria.
Unity is not the function of the words you use.
Okay.
It's a function of what people do. If you like, change the name of Nigeria 10 times. So long as you have the same people living in the country, nothing is going to change. The
same attitude, the same behavior.
Like I said to someone, even if we divide Nigeria into 10 countries today, what you see being carried, what you see by the leaders of the country doing,
they will take you to those small units,
back to their unit
and continue the mess up.
Nothing has changed. If you think that if you become a country on your own, you develop more, it's a lie. What your governors are doing now.
There's a very clear example. I remembered when South Sudan was going to leave the old Sudan.
Thank you.
The whole support from international community. It was being said that
they're actually the one that own the oil.
Yes.
Sudan.
Now the South Sudan left the old Sudan, and people have thought that look, it's going to be prosperity to them. Their leaders have refused to.
Savake
and the other guy have been on that.
Jonah Garang.
Nothing has happened in that region, in that state.
Jonah was killed. Savake took over, and you can see what is going on. So
it's still one of the poorest, entities in the world.
I don't think that the change of name will change the fortunes of Nigeria. I think what we need to do is a mindset shift. We have to get people who will live for greater causes, who will live for Nigeria more than they live for themselves. If we can do that, because you see, no matter the system you introduce, it's still going to be human beings, Nigerians,
that will run the system,
who operate the system. What is wrong with this system now that they can't run it? What is wrong?
FG.
Why can't they run this system profitably? And when I say profitably, I use the word profit loosely in the sense of doing things
for the benefit of the people.
There is not, look, as we speak today, you understand? There is nothing that prevents governors from using their allocation for the people.
At all.
You know, when the British were asked, what was it that united them more? The first thing that they mentioned was the Olympics that was held in the United Kingdom. So they united them. The second thing was their health facility, National Health Insurance, the NHS. So they're not talking about politics at all. Now, when you ask a Nigerian, what is it that unites us? You know, the only time we talk about the unity of Nigeria is when we are sharing political offices.
Yes.
That's the only time. Or when somebody takes over power and he wants people to head in one direction so that they can continue to remain power. But the actions that we take are counterproductive to the desire for unity. So such that there are a lot of Nigerians today who are left behind, who don't even think that they belong to this country because of the way they have been treated.
Yes.
And not only by the federal government, like we said, you go to different states, minorities in the states are being treated like they're not even Nigerians. So mere change of name is not going to bring about unity. But I think that if we restructure our mindset and we take that restructured mindset to restructure the country.
So before any
we have a fighting chance.
Before any physical constitutional restructure, you think we should do a restructured mind?
Yes.
But there are people who think that, look, if we restructure the system would force us to restructure our minds.
How?
That, look, yes, if the system now ensures that, look, the things we used to do can no longer happen, we'll be forced to restructure our mindset. Because again, you see, there are two conversations here by Mr. Curtis, Joseph, that, look, if we are waiting for people to restructure their minds, we'll never get anywhere. Okay, so restructure the system so that the system forces the people to restructure their mindset.
What resources will be used to restructure the system?
It has to be the people.
Don't forget that the former head of state,
yes,
the former president of the country, who talks so much about restructuring the country, when he assumed the presidency and saw the power of the presidency, he said, no, I'm not going to lose this. I need this.
It's not even a major agenda for him now.
Today, we're talking about restructuring the country. Senegal. The senators in Senegal met and decided to eliminate the Senate of Senegal.
Yes.
Senegal has no money to
run two houses. Yeah.
Can you go to Nigerian Senate today and say they should decide, the senators should decide?
And I think Senegal is giving at least Africa some moments of pride.
Yeah. The young man came from jail.
Yeah, from jail. 44 years.
And then he won the presidency.
And I think Senegal is also the only country that's in
spite of everything that Macky Sall
tried to
hold on to power, came up with all kind of
excuses.
So the point I'm trying to make here is that nothing is going to change until we adopt the attitude that we will live for causes that are greater
than personal interests.
Alexis the Tocqueville, the French philosopher who was in America and wrote a book called Democracy, talked about the fact that he saw something that was unique in America. He saw how ordinary people stood up and were prepared to live for causes greater than themselves. He saw how people were standing up, building roads, building universities, building bridges, because they felt that moving the country forward
was bigger than better. Yeah.
Most of the big universities in America, the Ivy League universities, they were built by individuals. You understand? So you go to some foundations and see the number of scholarships they're giving to indigent people, just to make sure that the poor can rise with the rich. Again, and then we're talking about people who are managing public funds.
Not their own personal money.
Not their personal fund, and they cannot even use those public funds
to develop the people and develop the country.
Look at the cathedral that the former governor of Akpata built.
About 36 billion or so.
36 billion.
Wasted funds, really.
Look at the 7 billion. What is it called now? Bashir El-Rufai.
He's talking about the banquet hall in Kaduna State.
Who is going there to do the banquet?
And I'm sure there are banquet halls already in Kaduna State. So we like talking about befitting. We are building a befitting banquet hall. Well, that's I think yes. For the name. For the name. United States of Nigeria.
I know that.
I like the name.
Yes, I've seen. What of FGN? FGN equally sweet too.
Which one is that?
federal government of Nigeria. It's equally sweet.
No, I like USN.
Or Gafwad. You know the issue of NYC. NYC, they say if we have NYC,
there'll be more unity.
NYC has been there now. A lot of people die on the road, and some might be kidnapped. But did Adesina equally tell all the financial implication of that? No. For you to rebrand to this one, you had the budget of maybe 2 years budget will be put.
I think from additional statement, it's not even bothered with the name. Really, it's about the structure of governance. Really, that's what he's talking about.
Let me tell you a story that Shuaibu told. Shuaibu was
former spokesperson of Yaradua. Yeah,
he said one young man approached him in his office one day and said, "Look, did you notice that in the budget there is provision for building press centers in the 36 states of the Federation? Presidential press center for the president?" I said, if you agree with me, we will trigger that process and we'll make a lot of money from there. And Shuaibu said he went to the president, Yaradua said, every time, how many times do I visit the states?
That we need a press center.
And even when I visit, we transport our public system from Abuja to with us. But you know, someone else would have trigger that in,
and then they'll deploy the way we have deployed now to renovate all manner of things.
These are still going on.
Yes, of course.
And then you remember the story that was told by Peter Obi.
Yes.
When Obasanjo was going to visit Anambra when he was governor, and he was told that he needed to provide the presidential lodge, he needed to provide armored cars and all that. And he said, "Look, what if I vacate the government house for the president?
You sleep there. And I have my own house in there."
And he had to go to Delta State to borrow the cars.
I can't be buying that. Yes,
on the car for those
few days.
Use for 2 days.
So I think that's what Mr. Akinwumi Adesina is saying. Well, I can see the lines buzzing already. We start to pick the calls now, and we have a lot of messages to deal with on Facebook and YouTube. So we'll start to pick the calls now. Still Political Roundtable, Mainland 98.3 FM, Edo 2024. Shuaibu's name missing as Ighodalo, Akpata, Okpebholo on the make INEC list. Is Shuaibu's political career over?
Is Sandra's name there?
She's a member of the Boot Party. And then if we can't change them, we'll leave them. Peter Obi speaks on Labour Party crisis. Is the Labour Party on the path to extinction? I think the agreement on the round table is that Labour Party is just going down, and they're almost going down and out. And then, of course, El-Rufai's son attacks Governor Sani after revelation on ill debt. Well, Bashir is not Bello. Bello is the man in House of Reps. This is Bashir. It's another. I'm sure he's also waiting on the lines for something.
Both of them are dynamite.
Dynamite, because the way he has spoken. Bello also is always a very sharp guy. You know, he's been making all manner of statements. I think he already has a committee. As a first timer, he's head of a committee in the House of Reps. And then we have the African Development Bank, Adesina saying we need to change our name and, of course, change the structure of governance in the country. 091-36000410. 091-36000410. Hello, good evening. Hello? Hello, good evening. I think he's not ready for us. Hello, good evening.
Hey, I'm ready for you.
Okay, Prince Wise, good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening to all of you. May God bless you, bless your management, and bless my beautiful country, Nigeria.
Amen. Good evening, sir.
Thank you. God bless you. You see, number one, additional suggestion is out of it.
Why?
Yes, out of it. Nigeria is very sweet and very good. We Nigeria we have to rebuild the culture and make Nigeria better. That is for Adesina. Number two, the governor of Kaduna State, you know, you don't need to fight El-Rufai. The man allow you to be the governor after God Almighty, so you should cool down. But that just in terms of El-Rufai, he has no right to be talking to the government. Why? Respect your elder. Now for that. And for B party, if we left that party, I say from day one after the election, I tell you, go back to PDP. You left PDP for Labour Party, and the Labour Party has no structure around the country. And we see the election. It's only government that have a party that only one governor. And when you want to talk opposition, we can talk in every global can go anywhere. The only opposition we have in Nigeria today is PDP. If APC lose the election, the party that they march today is PDP, because they have elected for 30 governors. Can you compare with a state with one governor other states, they have structure to fight for election, and the be so stingy, not ready to spend his money. So let me tell you, Obi himself is culpable of what is happening in this thing, because the last professor they did, or that chairman of the party for me is out of it, because INEC did not represent. But before this wahala come to that state, what will be doing? Want to rule more than 200 million Nigeria, and a smaller party. You can't sit down with them and mediate with them and settle differences. How many times will they meet all the setting for that party? No. And they want to rule Nigeria. This is not the way to do things. You better go back to PDP and party start with the member. If you need to spend money, you have to spend money to a match. If you don't want to spend money, you remain Obi of Nigeria without party. Right. If you want to go to Asu Rock, you want to do with the deal.
Thank you, Prince Wise. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, good evening. I can hear you.
My name is Bature, calling from Oshodi.
Okay, Malam Bature. Okay, Bature Oshodi. How are you doing? It's been a while.
Happy Easter to you guys in the studio.
Yes, happy Easter. Please go on, sir.
I want to speak of two issues. One is Shuaibu in Edo State.
Edo State, yes.
The truth is, it is only in Nigeria we say there is no harm in trying. It is his right or it is our right. That the Okpebholo house is not to the Shuaibu birthright. I'm from Mawuchi, Shuaibu from Jeto, so we are from the same area. The truth must be told. Shuaibu and the Oshomole is like from a father and a son. Politically, we understand that there is no harm in trying, but Shuaibu will understand that Benin people will not throw their two hands at the looking at him after Oshomole rule 8 years and Shuaibu 8 years as a deputy. But that city no before Isako, not the Isako get am. That is by the way. Then my main focus is that if Peter Obi actually said if the issue in Labour Party cannot be resolved, that is will walk away or the case may be.
Yes, he said he will leave the party.
He will leave the party. I think I remember what the former Abga chairman said, that if he did not return back to Abga, that guy will be walking away up and down and all those stuff. And the truth is, as I said, Peter Obi to actually make the party to understand that he's the coastal boy of that party now. Sit them down on the round table, make them to look at each other eyeball to eyeball. Where they thought he talk to themselves. See, in politics, there's always a give and take. I don't think him leaving the party is the best option for him. That is my own.
All right, thank you, Bature. But again, I don't think Peter Obi has that kind of influence. The way I'm seeing the crisis of that party, really, because it's a party. Yes, hello, good evening.
This is Austin calling from Madrid.
Okay, Austin, please go on, sir.
I wish you guys happy Easter.
Thank you.
Yes, I think the problem of our country begins in 1914.
Really?
I think Lugard was in the East, and there was a transaction that happened. That's why quickly he called the northern and the southern part. There was a transaction that happened with him, so he was in the East.
So Austin, so that transaction is why the Labour Party cannot coordinate themselves. Is why from 1999 till now we have not been able to do power. We are still around 4,000 megawatts.
That's what I'm telling you.
That transaction of 1914.
Let's leave that. That's my own personal finding to what I did.
No, I want us to have a conversation, really.
Okay. Wait, are you asking me questions? Or I
want us to have a conversation, but you can go on with your comments.
Okay, thank you. Yes, to me, I did a finding that was last week about 4 African countries. First was South Africa, Mali, Congo, and Senegal. I found that most especially in South Africa, the godfatherism is not really seen there. Because to me personally, from 1999 till date, all the governors, all the presidential, let me use all the governors. Most governors that win in a state, they are not really won by the people.
Okay, Austin. I think I got you now. Personally. All right. Thank you so much, Austin, because of time, really. I was waiting. All right. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening. Olakunle here.
Oh, Mr. Olakunle. How are you doing, sir?
Very well. Thank you very much.
Easter. Yeah.
Same to everybody in the house. Yeah.
All right.
I think Lord Lugard is the reason why Nigeria is in the third world country. That aside. Let me talk about Bashiru's issue.
Yes.
Rightly put, the things Bashiru said about somewhat bashing Ubasani
yes.
was, yes, because if you look at the statement Ubasani made, to an extent it's laughable. Laughable in the sense that if you look at the financials of Kaduna State,
yes,
you look at the kind of loans they've gotten, which are perfectly priced. Probably, I think the highest was about 3% and all of that. The state is top 5 for IGR. So the picture the governor is painting now is more of insolvency than cash flow issues. Because I know what he's facing with looking at the financial cash flow issues. But cash flow issues really have to do with how the governor manages the state. He's been a governor since May 29th.
10 months, yeah.
Yes, he's been a governor since 29th of May. Why hasn't he had that problem all through? You know, and I feel the way he has said it is trying to blame his predecessor for taking loan, and that's why he can't pay salary. That's not true, because that would bring much searchlight onto him and how he has run the finance of the state. If you look at his financial, you see that he placed 19 billion on state finances, which means that one has no head, no tail. He's building a banquet hall for 7 billion. He's building stadium for 2.5 billion. He's running interventions back and forth of almost about 11 billion. Yet you cannot pay salary. It becomes laughable. It becomes laughable to the person running the state.
So you think that she was right, really, with what he said?
Yes, truly, because I understand that Bashiru probably does not really like Sani, but over the years, I can understand Bello. Bello is a perfect man, understand how to play his politics, and he sees Uba as his godfather because he probably has a future in politics. But he probably doesn't follow that line. But the way and the trajectory the governor is going, it will just open up more cankerworms. And people will continue to drill down, and when they drill down, they want quite a lot of dirt about him. And what they are doing, and I continue to blame my party PDP, is that they are going to give the chance to the PDP, because the difference between the two parties are really slim. Probably the last time I think was about 20,000 difference of votes, which is easy to cover.
The PDP was almost
and those who do not and those who do not really like the government will probably stand where they are. So for me, I feel the government should be telling us that, okay, we have some cash flow issues. Are we going to learn from banks to plug that? Or are we going to do some restructuring of the loans so that it affords us some space to be able to run the government better than having to pay that because of debt? Right. We all understand that debt is leverage any day, and without debt, there's no growth. Thank you, Fuhad. God bless.
Thank you so very much. Again, these conversations on debt will never leave. But let's take messages on Facebook. In good Nigerians, I believe the future of national leadership is and isn't partisan. If the populace instinct and intellect follows the pheromonic brilliance of the presidential policy. Okay. Secondly, the awakening curiosity of some citizens and allies towards Edo polls is welcome. Yet ethnocentric, if the new name suggested for the nation won't aggravate its heartbeat because hypertension is coming with aged men. I don't know what Joseph Shokisi is trying to say, but at least I landed somewhere after flying all around. We have Bright Samuel saying, Happy Easter and Resurrection Day to everyone. Please, Mr. Barrister, always join us to pray that politicians should fight, because when they fight, it's only time we hear the truth.
I said so.
He said it. He said it.
I've been talking about
El-Rufai should be held accountable for any cover that is missing in Kaduna State. But they are not saying anything is missing, really. El-Rufai told us how he used Kaduna State money to bring Boko Haram. No, he didn't say that. Let's be careful with what we bring on radio. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Bright Samuel, for your message. Then we have Dayo Dada saying, Evening Creole, the Bible says when the righteous rule, the people rejoice. But when the wicked rule, the people mourn. When you mix military with politics, and the result is nightmare. Your president said he will continue in Buhari's legacy, which he is doing well. EndSARS should have been handled by police, and they sent army. The government and army wipe off. Okay, he's gone back. I think that is one of those EndSARS proponents who will never let it go. But thank you so much, Dada, for your commitment and consistency. We have Shola Ogunla. We saying happy Easter, well done, sir. We are with you. Then Basil Chika is saying additional proposal for Nigeria change of name can only refer as washing cup back while the inside remain dirty. Is Nigeria united with this biased kind of country? Lastly, on Ubasani revelations, I think the debt has gotten to his neck that he cannot shut up anymore, and that, as well as said a lot why these politicians always want to press a stooge as their successor. Edo people should stand their ground and change the old order by voting new party and independent person. Okay. Then we have Mike Moses who is saying, good evening, gentlemen in the studio. I'm really enjoying the program. God will continue to bless you people for doing the good job. Thank you. Then we have Kilani Estulu is saying Bashir is different from Bilo. Yes, we said that already. We have Ihiahi Chibundu Obata who is saying a problem in Nigeria was deliberately designed by some few who the current status benefits. We claim that the system was handed over to us by the British. We have changed so many laws and acts inherited from the British, but refuse to change those that help facilitate the negatives. We copy laws from Sena crimes, but do not copy the spirit of the laws. As far as those in government are government picking, gets everything free from government offices to lucrative, we are going nowhere. After all, Obama's wife claimed they pay personal bills and not by government, unlike here. Okay, we have Olayoju Kende Lija. We're saying, well done, sirs. I will always cherish any time I'm listening to you on mic, sir. God bless everybody in the studio sharing here with us. And then we have Ihai. Okay, we say good evening. Until we make public offices highly lucrative, thereby getting only those who really want to serve patriotically, nothing will change. They must receive salaries with the civil servant structure. That is on grade level. And then we have Kayo Deolano saying PDP is losing in Edo State come September 2024 governorship election. That's a prediction that PDP will lose in Edo State. It's not impossible, really. Anything can happen. 09136 0000410. Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Yeah, good evening.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening, sir. My name is Ekomena.
Okay.
Okay, I'm trying to contribute for your
Please go on. Please go on.
Okay, I want to say something about the border. The Labour Party, as far as I know, Labour Party is going to be a great party, no matter whatever the crisis they will have. But I want to let you know, especially yourself, you know how to be talking about Labour Party, because Labour Party, as far as I know, is going to be a great party. It's always against Labour Party, as far as I know. Whatever everything what you say. I remember last time when they started almost 2 weeks ago, he was trying to do those things, but I will continue to look at that. Let's continue to support the Labour Party to become a party we will work on.
Joseph will join Labour Party from next week.
Well, okay, thank you so much for the call. I'm wondering whether Joseph is the reason why NLC, Akpata, Blamidi, Papa.
Next week. Solve the problem.
All right, 09136 Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening, Fuhad.
Good evening, your name, sir?
I greet your guest. So my name is Anderson, and I'm calling from Festac.
Anderson. Okay, please go on, sir, from Festac.
Yes, I want to talk about the situation in Kaduna.
Okay,
the complaint of the governor.
Okay, go on, sir.
Yes. Yes. So I think we are missing something, and this is fundamental. You know, Barista said we should go to Kaduna and see what El-Rufai did. And I think it is not correct, because in the 21st century you don't need to go to a state before you know what is happening there.
So what do you do?
All the development economies in the world, including even those Nigerians like Adesina, they said you want to develop a country, it's education and health. A report was out last week about education state to state. The level of literacy in Kaduna is still among the highest. And somebody just left the state after spending 8 years. And you are telling me to build bridges. See, we should be serious when we are analyzing analyzing the governmental issue. I'm telling you, I think we place the bar too low. That's why we can build 2-3 bridges and all the school are dilapidated, and we celebrate him as if he has achieved anything. Okay. So the point is that, to me, that debt is not justifiable. Already, remember, in the 9th assembly, the senator representing Kaduna, they cried over that debt because the governor was going to the Senate asking for more and more debt, and they rejected it. They informed other senators, their colleagues, that we don't have the capacity to pay this debt, and this money is not transparent.
All right, Anderson, thank you.
The government, you remember how he went and destroyed their houses, those senators' houses in Kaduna.
All right.
So we should be objective when we are discussing all these issues.
All right.
Anderson, yes. I don't think there's any government that did for education more than El-Rufai. In fact, El-Rufai was the first governor to sack teachers.
Did exam for them.
And did exam for them.
For them, yeah.
If you go to Kaduna, El-Rufai spent so much money on education. I think.
Barista, I'm talking about the ranking now. Tell us the ranking.
When it comes to ranking,
do ranking now.
I didn't do the ranking, but I can tell you that
it came out last week now. It came out last week.
Banditry did not allow the impact of what he did to show so much.
You can bring that excuses. We can agree if you bring that excuses. But don't tell me that
and I'm surprised that you now think that infrastructural development is not part of
governance
and governance.
He was not spending money on Hajj, and he said,
all right, we'll take the last call before we now read the message. We have some messages on YouTube. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Good evening to the barrister and Mr. Man, sir.
Yes, your name, sir. Where are you calling from?
This is John calling from Agege.
John from Agege. Please go on, sir.
Yes, sir. This I want to comment on. Somebody, the first caller called and was saying that Labour Party is a small party. Other part, I want to ask, you actually have anything small party in Nigeria? Let's be sincere to ourselves. This country belongs to everybody. If the last election that was conducted in 2023 was conducted the way it's supposed to go, we're now talking about small party having not small party. The issue is we have a country that the institution and the electoral system is not working. If they are all working, a small party can become president. Somebody can become president, can become governor. But somebody cannot just call say because I'm not the member of the
But John, let me ask you, what do you think about this crisis of the Labour Party? Let's even leave. What I would like to know, they did very well in the last elections. Beyond everybody. Yeah.
Let me tell you the sincere speaking. What is happening to Labour Party today? APC hand is involved. I am telling you what is happening.
You think so?
APC, yeah, I'm telling you the fact. The people can call and begin to tell them.
But don't you think that leaders of the party should not have allowed? It's politics. Yes, it's not impossible. But why did they? Like Yorubas will say, I mean, if the wall doesn't have a crack, the lizard cannot go in. Don't you think there's a crack already? That's why the lizard is penetrating that wall. Oh, he's gone. All right, John has gone.
I think he has a point.
Yeah.
But until we catch their hands.
He said the APC has a hand in that crisis.
Even the way Lamida Papa emerged. And
the funny thing is that Lamida Papa now has decided to pitch his tent with Julius Abure on the NLC onslaught.
But because there has to be a party first
before he can become the leader.
Yes.
So he is not comfortable with NLC coming now to want to take over the party.
Yes.
Interest. You see the way interest works with politics in Nigeria. All right, let's really take the messages on YouTube and then we call it a day on the show. We have Cynthia Kaga, who is saying, good evening, house. I believe that if Labour Party put their house in order, they will have a chance in the next election. Well, we'll wait to see. Wale Salami is saying that PDP will lose Edo State to APC the way they are treating the deputy governor. That's from Wale Salami on YouTube. And then we have Aki Ayuade Omotayo Chris, who is saying, good evening, the roundtablers. That's the name he has given us. I'm still on my point that the summary of every topical communique reached on great stations like Mainland FM be forwarded to the appropriate authorities for holistic review. Well, I'm sure they have their media officers and they monitor shows of this type, and I'm sure you don't have to forward anything to them. They take their own information the way they take it and work with it the way they want to work with it. Well, we already running out of time. Mr. Curtis, your final take on the show this evening.
Again, the interest of the people should be in front of everything government does. It's all about the people. Government is about the people. All the policies should be about the people. Too much conflict in our politics I want to see conflict about the size of budget for water, electricity, health, schooling, and all that. Not just conflict about who puts me in power, what he has done, who I want to remove as governor because he's not obeying me. You understand?
Yeah. So. All right, Joseph Olorunso.
Fuhad, if you look at what's going on in Senegal, I think all of us should sit down in a round table and say, just the whole Nigeria, say, if we are giant of Africa, see what Senegal is.
You're very brilliant. So we should learn from Senegal.
Let Nigeria actually achieve a giant of Africa. All this one we are doing, in fact.
All right.
We are not even dwarf.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Joseph. Thank you, Barrister Curtis. I'm going to end the show with this message from Kayode Olorode because he has accused me of not reading it. He said Peter Obi should be warming up to leave Labour Party if the party refuses to be teachable. Labour Party is seen as a third force political party that can give APC or PDP what it takes to do true leadership. So far, so well. Obi should not have anything to do with APC or PDP. Obi can form a new political party with sensible Nigerian youth, just as it happened in Senegal. We need a social workers party or a social youth assembly party. It's already coming up with a name to fight those other political parties that have dragged the self-worth and value of the mass of our people to the mud, e.g. poverty, hunger, economic woes, and insecurity. We need a true leader in Peter Obi to help put a stop to dysfunctional leadership that has caused us this bleak environment. That's from Kayode Olorode. Well, that's his own thought. We wait to see what Mr. Peter Obi will do going forward. Well, this is what we call this a day Political Roundtable, Mainland 98.3 FM. My name is Saheed Fuhad. Let's do this again next week.